If you happen to be wandering through just the right corridor of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City on the 18th of September 2013, you would have seen quite a bizarre sight. Two high-ranking American diplomats desperately trying to rip a framed photograph off the wall. Outside, the streets of New York were filled with protests against the Iranian regime. But behind the closed doors of the Waldorf Astoria, US diplomats Bill Burns and Jake Sullivan were preparing to meet advisors of that same regime, hoping to convince them to give up their quest for nuclear weapons. The trouble was, just as the advisors arrived, the Americans realised that on the wall outside their meeting room was a giant photograph of the last Shah of Iran visiting the Waldorf in the 1970s. The man the Iranian regime hated more than any other person on earth. Burns and Sullivan were about to strike a deal with the Iranian regime that, in terms of substance, is probably pretty similar to the deal the Trump administration will be trying to get Iran to agree to this time.
Iran agreed to limit its disputed nuclear program in exchange for some relief from tough sanctions.
There were some critics of this deal, and one of them was particularly vocal.
We have terminated a terrible, terrible deal that should have never, ever been made.
Trump withdrew from the deal in 2018. By June 2025, Iran had enriched enough uranium to build 10 nuclear weapons in about a week. So Trump invited Iran back to the negotiating table, and then, during the talks, did this.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Despite this setback, negotiations continued, and in late February 2026,
we have hit hundreds of targets in Iran.
We've come a long way from Burns and Sullivan, who would happily deface a historic hotel rather than risk offending the Iranians. Perhaps a deal will have been struck by the time you started watching this episode. But now you're at the end, it's probably worth checking whether that deal is still in place.